Well, the virus has now killed more than 100 people in China, and new cases have been confirmed around the world.
So you don't want to frighten the American public.
France and South Korea have also got evacuation plans.
But you need to prepare for and assume
strongly warning Americans to avoid all non-essential travel to China.
That this is going to be a real serious problem.
France, Australia, Canada, the US, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, the list goes on.
Health officials are investigating more than 100 possible cases in the US.
Germany, a man has contracted the virus.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
Japan, where a bus driver contracted the virus.
Coronavirus has killed more than 100 people there and infected more than 4,500.
We have to prepare for the worst, always, because if you don't and the worst happens.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
New York Post, President has COVID. The Daily News, infected, with, of course, a picture of the president and the first lady. The Los Angeles Times this morning, Trump tests positive for coronavirus. The Minnesota Star Tribune, Trump has virus. President, first lady test positive. San Francisco Chronicle, Trump says he has the virus. And the Sun, Trump tests positive for coronavirus. Obviously, Willie, newspapers across the world. Here's a picture of the president with the prime minister of Britain, who also has had the coronavirus and had a very difficult fight with it. The New York Times, of course, Trump tests positive for COVID-19 and the world shudders. Obviously, the impact of a United States president having a disease that has killed over 200,000 in this country and 1 million worldwide. Obviously is going to cause the markets to shudder, to cause our allies to shudder, and yes, as the New York Times said, will cause the world to shudder.
The president especially is an individual who is at elevated risk of a bad outcome, one, because of his age, and two, because he has something called metabolic syndrome. He's overweight. He has potentially other comorbidities that come with that.
Vladimir Putin has sent Donald Trump a telegram this morning and says that he is sure, I am sure your inherent vitality, spirit, and optimism will help you cope with the dangerous virus, Vladimir Putin wrote. But of course, we are not concerned with what Vladimir Putin is saying.
He was supposed to go down to Florida for both a fundraiser and a rally, that rally to be held in Sanford, Florida. We know that is canceled. We know that's not going to happen. The president was also supposed to go to Wisconsin. That was on the schedule for this weekend as well, on Saturday. It hasn't officially been canceled, but as you said, it's our understanding that the president and the first lady are going to quarantine, so it doesn't seem possible that those events are going to happen.
He was supposed to today have a fundraiser here in Washington and then travel to Florida tonight for a rally. Those events have been canceled. He was supposed to be in Wisconsin tomorrow and then have a very aggressive run of campaign events, rallies, etc., next week, including a West Coast swing. Those all now in doubt, almost certainly to be canceled. He likely will be sidelined for at least 10 days, if not longer. And that's, of course, if he doesn't get sick, if he doesn't show symptoms. And it completely throws the last month or so of this election into chaos. Will there be 2 more general election debates? Hard to say at this moment. Perhaps not. Will there be any sort of semblance of campaign events or rallies from either side the rest of the way? That's difficult to suggest as well.
How they're going to continue a campaign in the face of all of this. What it means for the debates, the commission is probably sitting down right now trying to figure out, do we even have the next 2 debates, given the nature of this? Certainly, we don't know what the president's health is going to be to stand up for an hour and a half in front of a live audience.
You know, are we moving into crisis mode? We don't know yet. We do know that the most unconventional presidency in American history, in this most unconventional of years, in this most unconventional of presidential campaigns, has just become yet more unconventional, because we are 32 days away from a presidential election. I would doubt that you're going to see any more presidential debates. I would doubt there's a vice presidential debate.
And that brings us to the debates. The vice presidential debate scheduled for next week, not to mention the 2 presidential debates upcoming. Will they even happen?
The next 2 debates are both scheduled within a 2-week window, the vice presidential debate and next presidential debate.
He needs to shut it down for his own sake, for the sake of his.
Okay, welcome to the War Room. That was a long, cold open, but as you can tell from the mainstream media, they got the CCP kill switch. It's time to take a deep breath. Markets are fine. I think markets down 250. The markets are not shuddering. The world is not shuddering. Just take a deep breath. You're in the War Room. It's Friday, the 2nd of October, year of our Lord 2020. Yes, that's right. It's just a Friday, another day at the office. President Trump, with his resolve and his steadfastness and his grit, not going to let this rattle him, not like the mainstream media. Unbelievable that just the panic mode, hair on fire. Okay, episode 415, over 15.5 million downloads, and we're ubiquitous everywhere. John Fredericks Radio Network, on Real America Voice, that is Dish Channel 219, Chicago Comcast Channel 113, on the Newsmax TV in 70 million homes, and worldwide on G News and GTV, and in Mandarin. And of course, on every platform you can possibly be on. So we're really honored to be partners with our distribution partners. We got Dr. Li Ming Yan later to talk about what the president has and how to use hydroxychloroquine and other therapeutics to get past this. Liz Yours is going to be talking about Mike Pompeo in the Vatican. We've got the new federal state of China from New Zealand to New York City, this global protest against the Chinese Communist Party. Yeah, their virus finally got to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Got Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassam anchoring it in the War Room in Washington, D.C. I'm in Midtown Manhattan overlooking St. Patrick's Cathedral and 30 Rock. And we're very honored to have from the Bay Area, Fog City Midge. You guys remember Fog City? She spent a lot of time with us down on the wall when we built the wall down in El Paso. She has fond memories of that. So I want to go around. We're going to have some social media. The hate and the venom has been absolutely unbelievable. But I want to go around the horn. I want to start with Fog City. Fog City, put in perspective what's happened. Why is the media in meltdown? They're canceling the campaign. They're canceling the debates. They're canceling everything. The world's shuddering. The markets are shuddering. Of course, it's all nonsense, right? Market was down 400 on futures. I think it's down 250, which is just another day of the tech
110 now, Steve.
Right. 110. They're listening. By the way, we know the trading desk listened to War Room Pandemic, and the reason is they made a ton of money. When they were shorting the stocks back early on, they made a ton of money. Then went long, and we said this thing was going to flip. So, Midge, put this in perspective. And Raheem, you, Jack, and Midge, I want you to look at I think we're going to put up the guys out in Colorado, our partners at Real America Voice, is going to put up some Twitter hate. Let's talk about the haters coming out, the venom coming out against the commander-in-chief. Midge, put it in perspective. What do you think we got here?
Well, it's funny. I woke up in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden, my phone is blowing up. President Trump has tested positive for coronavirus. And, the media is already in meltdown. The hate started at 4 a.m. From what I was seeing online, and it was just nonstop. It's funny because the left has been sort of planning for something like this to happen. They've been prepared. They've been saying, oh, what if Trump gets coronavirus? That'll be, just the best thing for our narrative. And we're seeing it play out right now in live time. But it's funny because, my understanding is President Trump doesn't have any symptoms. I think if he gets 3 days of negative tests, he could get back out there much sooner than expected. So, this doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to stop, that all campaigning, that all activity for President Trump is just going to stop. He fully intends to continue working from the White House and stay active. I mean, I don't see, his doctor said he's doing fine. So, it's like, I don't understand why the world is in complete meltdown. It's shocking, but I think it's, again, just an opportunity for the left to push their hate and their get Trump narrative.
I did want to clarify, Steve, as well for that. Just the White House announced about half an hour ago that the president is experiencing some mild symptoms now. So I don't know, exactly what those come in the shape of, but that seems to be what the what the White House said about, and to the Associated Press reporting that about half an hour ago.
By the way, I'm sure he's going to show some symptoms. He's got the CCP virus, but two things. Number one, you got Mnuchin and these guys calling around, the Treasury Department calling around to the capital markets, to the trading desk. You got the Fed trading desk calling around. So right now, you've just reported, Raheem, the market's down 110. It's another Friday. By the way, I think we had a pretty good jobs report. Not great, but you got unemployment down under 8%, 7.6% from Great Depression levels. You're going to have a big third quarter. So the market is just another Friday in the market. I know they've talked to the allies. I know they've talked to guys that may not be considered our allies. The world is not shuttering. The capital markets are not shuttering. The country's not shuttering. This is all just the complete hair on fire. This is the reason we have the problem with the Democratic base and why they have to steal this election after November 3rd. Because the mass hysteria they go through every day, this is how they traumatize their base. This is why all the Democrats are down in their basement and don't want to come out. That's why Vish, Burr, I really want to thank Vish and the team at Real America for putting that supercut. It was a little long, but it just shows you how they're in total meltdown, right? And so President Trump can run the government and do it from the residence. Doesn't have the one-on-one personal feel of being in a room with somebody, but you can run the entire apparatus from there. Not just that, I happen to think, and I'm an advocate of, President Trump, I know the rallies are great. I love the rallies. I know people love them. But digitally, you could do, like I'm doing these calls on the plot to steal America. President Trump could do 5 rallies a day digitally right now. He can hammer it on as far as the campaign goes. So I think this is emblematic of the point in history where we are. We have an irresponsible mainstream media, irresponsible social media, and we have the opponents of President Trump. I think the agents of chaos, all they want is chaos. Look this morning. Oh, the markets are going to be shuttering. The world's going to be shuttering. The campaign's going to be stopped. You can't have any more debates. Take a deep breath. This is what President Trump offers. Stability, grit, determination, and resolve. And so I think it's time. I actually think this is could be quite powerful. And listen, this is a pandemic, right? The CCP, this came out of the lab. Whether they did it on purpose as a biological weapon or whether it was inadvertent with a gain-of-function experiment that went out. Dr. Lee Min-yang has done an amazing job of showing this didn't come from a wet market. It didn't come from a bat cave. Raheem Kassam, Jack Maxey, talk to me about Twitter. The hate and the pure venom is actually pretty stunning.
Yeah, well, I think we have some more breaking news here as well.
Yes, we've got some breaking news. Ronna McDaniel, chairwoman of the RNC, has tested positive for coronavirus. She's experiencing mild symptoms, according to multiple people who have been briefed on the situation. This is, now we've got Ronna McDaniel, Hope Hicks, President Trump, and First Lady Melania Trump, but not our Vice President or Karen Pence.
Not Pence, not Jared, not Ivanka, not Barron, not Amy Coney Barrett, not Mike Pompeo, not Jack Maxey.
I think the key thing to think about here is every day when you're walking down the street, anywhere between 5 and 10% of those people have either had it or have it. Most people are asymptomatic. Trump does have some comorbidities. He's over 65. He's a little bit overweight. But the guy's never smoked. He doesn't drink. He's not a diabetic. He doesn't have high blood pressure. Statistically, Donald Trump is probably going to be fine. And the other thing that we can look around the world and see other people. Remember Jair Bolsonaro? He got the disease. I don't even think the guy skipped a day of work. He was walking around every day. He was fine. He said from the start that just like Putin said about Donald Trump, he's got vitality, he's got vigor, he should be okay. There may be a great learning moment for the American people, and I pray that the president recovers very nicely here, because it might inspire some people to lose and shed some of the fear that has been imposed upon them by the propaganda of the CCP and their quislings in the Democratic Party who want to see this country on its knees and see us weakened so that they can get their candidate in office. Donald Trump, prayers to you, mate. I think you're going to be fine, and I think it'll be a great example for the American people to see that they're going to be fine, too.
All right, we're going to go to a break here, but Jack, you're absolutely right. Jair Bolsonaro, Juan Hernandez, Lukashenko, Prince Albert of Monaco, all these people, all these world leaders who have had it, and it has passed. We'll be back. More War Room Pandemic in just a moment.
If you suffer from foot pain, ankle pain, knee pain, hip pain, even lower back pain, if just standing causes aches, soreness, and fatigue, the problem could be your feet. When your feet are out of alignment, your entire body is out of alignment and you're in pain. Now you can change all of that. Today, introducing Superthotics, the doctor-designed breakthrough that solves the problem in your feet and relieves the pain throughout your entire body. It begins with the cushioned BioLock heel cup that holds your heel and ankle in perfect alignment. Next, metatarsal and longitudinal arch supports distribute the pressure of your body weight evenly across the entire foot. Plus, these customizable inserts, which correct the angle at which your foot hits the ground, relieving your pain with every step you take. Imagine being able to dance, walk, work, play golf, or just spend an afternoon shopping without the aches, pains, stiffness, and poor balance that rob you of your active life.
As a flight attendant, I spend a lot of time on my feet. The moment I put the Superthotics in, I could feel a huge difference. The pain in my knees went away, the pain in my feet went away. Not only am I wearing them for work, I am wearing them all the time.
Imagine finally getting relief from painful problems like bunions, shin splints, corns, calluses, plantar fasciitis, and even stress fractures. Doctor-prescribed orthotics can cost $600 to $800, but you won't pay anywhere near that for Superthotics when you call the number on your screen or go to superthotics.com. For a limited time, you'll get the manufacturer's direct price of just $39.95. Call now, and we'll also include, at no extra cost, our soothing peppermint lotion to help invigorate your feet. You will also get our luxurious comfort slippers designed with durable memory foam. You receive it all. Superthotics are not available in any store. Call or go to superthotics.com now.
This is Kate.
Hey.
She takes 2 prescriptions. Kate's son Jack takes one too. Kate works hard and thought she had good insurance. But she still pays too much. That's no good. So Kate downloaded the GoodRx app. Now she can compare prescription prices to find the best discounts. She even beats her insurance price. Good for you, Kate. Good for you. GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
I sent your new prescription to the pharmacy. Any idea how much it will cost? You have a choice. Insurance or GoodRx? I have insurance. Insurance is not what it used to be. People struggle to get their prescriptions covered, and prices keep rising. I recommend GoodRx. You get free coupons to save on your prescriptions. Compare prices to find the best discounts.
GoodRx. Smart.
Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Mark Meadows has spent a lot of time on Capitol Hill with COVID negotiations, relief negotiations, and of course, there's the president's Supreme Court nominee, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who not only was with the president a few days ago, but has been repeatedly with Mark Meadows, who's been acting as her guide on Capitol Hill, meeting Republican senators, all of whom now would need to be part of a robust contact tracing program within the White House. This calls into question whether or not the presidential debates can still occur. This calls into question whether the Supreme Court hearings can still occur. And of course, even in a best case scenario for the president, were he not to fall ill, he is now supposed to quarantine for 10 to 14 days, which would sideline him from the campaign trail with only a little over a month to go.
Welcome back to War Room Pandemic. So good to play the intro music twice. It is Friday, October the 2nd, the year of our Lord 2020, broadcasting live from Capitol Hill. Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassam, and in-studio guest host, Fog City Midge. Down the line, Stephen K. Bannon. I want to jump into this point about Boris Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, here on in the studio and watching in the live stream and beyond. I went through this morning and looked into, since everybody's getting political about this, and it's inescapable to talk about the impact on the election with this, I went into Boris Johnson's approval ratings post his COVID diagnosis back in March. He was neck and neck, basically, with the Labour Party leader at the time. He had an approval rating of about 46%. Just a month, less than a month later, about 20 days later into his diagnosis, that 46% had jumped to 66%, and even a month after that was still high at 57% compared to just 26% and 35% respectively, who thought he was doing badly as a leader. If we want to get honest about what impact this has on the election, and you know, as I say, it's not something that I think is worth politicking about, but as a point of analysis, this will probably serve to help the president in some way, shape, or form. There will be a lot of public sympathy. A lot of people have gone through this themselves. A lot of people have had scares themselves.
I totally disagree. I don't think there'll be any public sympathy, and I don't think he needs sympathy. I think if he acts accordingly and takes a deep breath and performs his function as commander in chief and chief executive of the administration and chief law enforcement officer, I think his approval rating could skyrocket. I don't think we should assume any sympathy at all. I don't think he needs sympathy. I don't think he wants sympathy. I mean, it's Donald Trump. And I go back.
No, I don't
to
mean
what Jack
I don't
said
mean
previously.
I don't mean sympathy in a cute sense. I mean people who are sympathetic to the struggle, who can identify with what the president's going through. It's the very same thing, Steve, as this Melania video that came out last night, where she's frustrated over the Christmas decorations. She will experience public sympathy as a result of that. Guess why? Because people know what a nightmare that can be. It's connecting with people, and this will connect with people.
Yeah, listen, I think what Boris did is Boris's COVID experience was pretty tough. Remember, there was a couple of days there, Raheem, we didn't know if Boris was going to make it or not. And we didn't know that they were giving us the straight skinny on how bad his situation was. I think in hindsight, it was a lot worse than 10 Downing Street was letting on. But Boris came through that. You know, it was later that he kind of dropped the ball on the British response. I think this is all about how the president handles this. I think it's all about if he shows up to work, if he digitally gets back on the campaign, if this is just another day at the office. I think you just saw right there what the mainstream media wants is they want a complete meltdown. They want to get Dr. Fauci out with his clipboard. He's going to be contact tracing all over D.C. and you're going to have Mark Meadows, Judge Barrett, everybody is going to be down in their cave so that they can have the same mass hysteria that they've had that's traumatized the Democratic Party. Remember, the biggest breaking news we had last night before President Trump, was diagnosed with the CCP virus is the fact that in full panic mode, because I've been listening to War Room Pandemic and Raheem, your roadshow and mine on the plot to steal 2020, all of a sudden they're knocking on doors. They're in Ohio, they're in Florida, they're in Pennsylvania, they're in the three big states they need to win. What are they doing? They're knocking on doors and they're telling people you have to get out on November 3rd and vote. They understand we've totally exposed this plot that they've got to steal the presidency with these phony mail-in ballots, right? They're shoveling them in by the palletful, by the pound down there in Philadelphia. So the biggest story last night was how the Democratic Party has totally reversed course. And now everything is about getting people out to vote in the 3rd because they understand once the bold red predicate, the bold red fact of Trump's victory on the evening of the 3rd of real votes, those are votes that take place on game day, that they're going to be tough to reverse. Now you're seeing the same mass hysteria. They're trying to traumatize the Trump base. They're trying to traumatize the White House. They're trying to traumatize the campaign, the entire administration. Here's what you do. You just sit there and go, hey, it's Friday, the 2nd of October. Here's what we're going to do. I think the president ought to digitally have the rally in Sanford today. Obviously, he's got to take care of his health. If he's got some symptoms, he should take care of them. He's got great medical help. And I think, Jack, one of the first things he should do is Dr. Yan's going to take it. Get up on the hydroxy right away, right? Do an early therapeutic that we've been advocating here on the so push back. What do you guys, Midge, Raheem, Jack, push back on that? I say, hey, it's just another day at the office. Show stability. Markets will come back. Our allies will know everything's okay. American people sit there and go, this is what I like about Trump. With Biden, I get a happy talk Joker. I get the Joker with the Tourette syndrome with these radical anarchists in back of him, right? In this radical plan, they don't want to pack the cord, global, Green New Deal, all this radical, $4 trillion tax hike, chaos in the streets, defund the cops. everything, but I got the Joker. I got this old Bizarro kind of out there in front. With Trump, I get stability. I get resolve. I get steadfastness. I get what I'm looking for in a president. Someone who's not going to give an inch, who's going to sit there and go, hey, it's just another day at the office. So, guys, respond, criticize, critique, observations.
Steve, this is a really good opportunity for the deplorables out there to have a call to arms here to a certain extent. We've watched this president carry this movement on his own ample shoulders now for 4 years, and we expect him to always be out there at his bully pulpit doing rallies, et cetera, et cetera. He's probably not going to be able to do that in the near term. So that means more than ever, you deplorables got to get out there and pick up the slack. We've got to be out there knocking on the doors. We've got to be out there taking back the House on November 3rd. We can't think small here. This isn't just about a victory. This is about vanquishing the opposition. And I think that Donald Trump, if I were advising him, I'd have him on Rush Limbaugh today at noon. I'd have him doing every radio show around the country, showing the American people that he does have that vigor and vitality that is a trademark of him and a trademark of us as a people, and inspire the American people that this is going to be okay. And November 3rd is still the target date, and we all have to pay attention.
Yep. And this is once again the time for Trump to demonstrate his strength and what we know him for. And, I think that Trump did an amazing thing during the debate when he called Biden out for the lack of crowds and basically forced him to have to do what he didn't want to do, which is go out, address the big crowds, meet the people. And that's why we saw at his train tour event with hundreds of people out on the street, of course, crammed together, again, in not masked, not social distancing. So, Trump forced Biden to have to do that. So, I think it's funny to see how the left is kind of not covering that and being hypocritical on that again. But yeah, the Biden train tour, it'll be interesting to see now whether they pull back because of what's going on with President Trump.
Raheem, your ideas, your thoughts, your commentary.
Well, I want to understand, maybe Jack, you can shed some light on this. If the president is tested every day, but tested positive yesterday, how does that work in terms of when would he have possibly contracted it? And there's the whole thing about the viral load and the incubation time and all of that. I mean, is there do we know anything about that? Maybe that's a question for Dr. Yan later.
First of all, these tests can pick up a positive result with a very minimal amount of the virus. In fact, that's why we have so many false positives. I'm not saying that the president is a false positive by any means, but he is being tested every day, so he probably was pronounced positive at the earliest possible moment, right? So if we follow the Zelenko protocol, we follow some of these protocols with HCQ, azithromycin, and zinc, maybe the guy will power through this with no problems. I'd love to see him continue to talk to the American people, even if his voice is hoarse and even if he's got a little cough, because I think that people love to feel that this man is a strong man. It inspires us to greater deeds, and I think it's going to inspire people to get out there. If they see him struggling through this problem and still doing his job, and I guarantee you he will do it because I've never seen the guy stop yet. I mean, I get tired just keeping up with him in the media. I think it'll be very big power move for him to continue to speak to the American people throughout his sickness.
What's the Spanish word for it?
Caudillo.
There you go. I think that's what people need to see. Steve, what's the move now from the campaign? Should they be setting up like a digital rally tonight?
They should do the one in Sanford, Florida, definitely digitally. I think if the president's up to it physically, and he says he's got mild symptoms, Donald Trump he'll power through a mild symptom. So no, I think they ought to do 5 rallies tomorrow. I think they ought to do 5 rallies the next day. I think you can actually take huge advantage of this. Just keep him in the residence and let him just power through. People love hearing what they love about the rallies. They love the camaraderie, but what they really love is Trump. Trump sitting there driving home, doing his speech. Look, what I want to hear from, what we need to hear from is War Room Pandemic, # War Room Pandemic, most powerful audience in the world. We've got a lot of loud Beijing later. But Raheem, why don't you take us out? We'll be back in a moment.
That's right, guys and gals. And everyone out there, make sure you're # War Room Pandemicing on Twitter in the live chat. as well following on Facebook and beyond. We'll be back with more War Room Pandemic in just a moment.
Frustrated with heavy rubber hoses that always get tangled and easily kink? Introducing the Bionic Flex Pro hose, the super strong, super tough hose that's ultra light as well. Run over an ordinary hose and it'll easily burst, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose stays intact no matter what runs over it, because its reinforced drag-resistant commercial-grade outer polyester weave makes it tougher and stronger than ever. And its solid brass fittings are crush-proof too. Ordinary hoses kink easily and stop working, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose never kinks. It just keeps flowing strong. And while regular hoses easily get tangled, the Bionic Flex Pro hose is tangle-proof. You can get the 25-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose for just $19.95 with free shipping. But wait, order today and we'll upgrade your order to a 50-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose. Just pay a separate fee, and shipping is still free. Go now.
Call 1-800-313-8062.
I'm Nick Bolton, and these days...
Hey there.
Hey there. It seems everybody has a pair of tactical sunglasses.
Good morning.
Morning. But what if you already wear glasses? Then you need these flip-up tack glasses. These new glasses fit right over your existing eyewear to give you all the benefits of our tack glasses while you comfortably wear your regular glasses. Plus, like all tack glasses, flip-up tack glasses feature Bell & Howell light filtering technology that makes invisible objects suddenly become visible. There's just nothing like them on the market today. Here you go, buddy.
Thanks, Nick.
Act now to get your flip-up tack glasses for just $19.99, and we'll even ship them to you free. But wait, order today and you can get a second pair. Just pay a separate fee. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-284-4127 or go to flipupglasses.com. That's 1-800-284-4127 or order online at flipupglasses.com.
Windshields are impossible to clean, and a dirty windshield can be downright dangerous. Introducing the Hurricane Windshield Wizard, the one tool that reaches and cleans for you. It uses the power of microfiber with a pivoting head to make cleaning windshields quick and easy. The specially designed ergonomic handle fills with tap water and dispenses at the touch of a button, so you can clean in seconds without straining. And it folds away for space-saving storage. Order now and get the Hurricane Windshield Wizard with free extra bonnet for just $19.99. But order now and you can double the offer. Plus, you can also get the Battle Visor, the visor that blocks the harsh glaring sun and keeps you safe on the road. Just pay a separate fee, and we'll ship everything to you for free. That means you can get all this and free shipping. Order now.
Call 1-800-474-7530 or visit getwindshieldwizard.com. So call 1-800-474-7530 now.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
We have Raheem and Jack Maxey down in the War Room in Washington, D.C. I'm in Midtown Manhattan on assignment. We're honored to have Fog City Midge in from the Babylon on the Bay, San Francisco, to join us here in Washington, D.C. in the War Room. By the way, guys, any breaking news that comes up, just jump in, like Ronna McDaniel having also contracting the CCP virus. Also, where are the markets right now? I think we're seeing some stability in the markets. We're seeing stability among our allies. We've got some breaking news later, Jack, I think, about America's military support in the South China Sea. So a lot of good things happening today. It's just another day in the office over at the White House. Mainstream media is in complete hysterical meltdown. This is how they have the problem with nobody in the Democratic Party wants to show up to vote. They all want to hide in their rabbit hutch, right? Because they've been traumatized by the mainstream media. Now, look, we've been covering the pandemic since mid-January, right? We refused to kind of drop the handle pandemic when people came to us in the spring. So I said, hey, I think this thing is kind of impervious to heat and humidity, and that's why we had the big bounce in the summer, because it is impervious to heat and humidity. This pandemic's not over, and it's not over by a long shot. And here's the reason. This came from the Chinese Communist Party. This came from a CCP lab, whether it's a bioweapon program or a gain-of-function experiment gone awry. This is China's problem. China has done this, and they've exacerbated it. And the Chinese media is mocking and ridiculing us right now. They're particularly after President Trump. So I hope folks in the White House understand that this is the CCP virus. Jack, you mentioned something in the break, the irony of contracting this on the 1st of October. What is that?
China National Day. So here we have the CCP virus that has been given to our president on their national day. There is some irony in that. But the even better irony is going to be when we watch Donald Trump power through this illness and we stick a thumb in their eye as a result.
Well, and powering through the illness, let's get back to the business at hand. The business at hand is clearly a presidential election. I think it's 31 and a wake-up until we actually vote. The Trump supporters couldn't be more on fire. I think something like 70 to 75% of Trump supporters want to vote on Election Day, the real vote. And, of course, then you've got the Democratic Party and the progressive left, the mainstream media want to steal this with all this kind of, voting by the ballot. 60 to 80 million ballots to be cast by mail. I think the latest is. So, Raheem, you see yesterday a very disturbing part of the lawfare. Remember, it's three parts of this. You got a lawfare part of it. You've got the mainstream media and the kill switch of the social media. You've also got the street muscle they're going to bring through Antifa and certain elements of Black Lives Matter. But in Montana yesterday, a very disturbing court case. It was ruled, I think, even by a federal judge out there that said that ballot harvesting in that Senate race out there, which is a critical Senate race between Steve Daines and the current governor, that ballot harvesting is essentially okay. Ballot harvesting being one of the principal problems we got in doing this massive mail-in vote, and that's what's happening in Philadelphia. So, Raheem, why don't you get us up to speed on the plot to steal this election, the plot to steal 2020? What's your latest observations, commentary on that?
Well, what we're looking at now is this massive influx of cases from all around the country that are getting reported of the mail-in ballots. Now, I'll tell you something that I told our group last night, on the live stream when we were doing this live stream to talk about this this plot, these series of digital meetings that we've been doing almost day in and day out between you and I, Steve, that I personally received 3 mail-in ballots yesterday to my address. Now, obviously, I'm not a U.S. citizen. I have no intention of voting. But these are the sorts of things now that are critical to track. If they're sending me 3 mail-in ballots for people who haven't lived at my address in a decade, you wonder about how much that's taking place all around the country. And so tracking things like that is going to be incredibly difficult, but is an incredibly important thing to do. Just think about it this way. People who move, you don't inform the local elections board that you're moving, whether it's out of county, out of state, whatever it is, right? And so there are all these mail-in ballots just floating around right now that if you're not like me, which is moral, you're going to open them up. I think the left is going to open them up, fill them in, and send them back. And the question is how we track that, how that is monitored by election monitors, how it's monitored by external people. We know a lot of these states put their mail-in voting data online, and whether it's a front-facing website or you have to go in the back and work some digital magic or something, you can figure it out. The question is, do we have the resources deployed? Do we have the resources at hand? Do we have the tech nous? Do we have the electoral lawyers at hand to deal with this? Now, people are talking about this 10,000 volunteers from LeBron James and all of this stuff. So my question is, for our side, do we have the requisite pushback? And right now, while I'm seeing a ramping up of all of this, I'm very grateful and glad that the RNC and the campaign have taken the heed of some of this. I'm not sure we're yet at a critical mass, and that's where the audience comes in, Steve, because, like you said last night on the live stream, like we say every day on this show, it is imperative that everybody who can registers as a poll watcher or an election official. You can still do it. There's still time. And I want to tell a story. I didn't get to tell it last night, but I want to tell a story very quickly. So I've actually been an election counting agent in the room on the floor as polls as ballots are being counted in the United Kingdom, and it's a contact sport. Effectively, what you're doing is you are shoulder to shoulder with somebody from competing parties, and of course in the United Kingdom there's 4, 5, 6 competing parties at an election, and you're shoulder to shoulder against them, you're tussling and you're jostling, you're looking over the shoulder of the person who is actually physically counting the ballots to say, oh, you missed one of ours there, or oh, I think you put that one in the wrong pile, and it's a fight. It's a fight to make sure that these ballots are counted fairly, even when there isn't any of this jiggery-pokery going on. So you think about what's going to happen November 3rd and afterwards. So this the audience must volunteer.
Look, here's the thing. Particularly, we've been doing speeches these talks to young Republican groups throughout the country because, look, a lot of the people that are in the danger zone with the CCP virus, traditionally poll watchers and the election official volunteers are normally older. So you can't count on the boomers right now. You need young people. That's why we got Fog City Midge on here to inspire the young people. You got to get out there. You got to volunteer. It's absolutely imperative to get in the room. And Raheem's 1,000% correct. And the left's melting down because Bannon's out there saying, hey, this is going to be a war. This is going to be a knife fight in these counting rooms. It's going to be a knife fight. Because there's so much that has to line up. Remember, if you don't vote in your secret ballot on Election Day, which the deplorables are going to do, if you go by mail or go by absentee, you're basically saying, hey, I don't mind if somebody handles my ballot. I know they have to. Well, there's a whole process of how you check that, how you check to certify. Remember, one of the reasons we even got this idea, the Democratic primaries in June, I think it was, in Brooklyn and in Manhattan, 30% in the woke capital of America in Brooklyn, 30% of those ballots were not certifiable. I think there were 20% were not certifiable of the mail-in know-it-all Manhattan. Here's the point. The mainstream media has traumatized the Democratic Party base. They have to vote by mail. They're going to vote by mail. I don't care how many doors they go knock on now. It's too late to get out the vote move when you start this late. They've got to vote by mail. And Raheem Kassam's absolutely correct. This is going to come down to the counting. This is not going to be so much an issue of voter fraud. It's going to be a voter administration. And this is where they're going to try to do ballot harvesting. This is going to try to do vote by the pallet, vote by the pound. And there have to be Trump supporters in the room. Remember, we're saying if it's a certifiable ballot, hey, it should count. If it's a real mail-in and you've got everything lined up, you're a registered voter, you're a citizen, you've done it properly, hey, that vote should count. We're certainly not anti-democratic. We understand that, but it's this ballot harvesting. It's this vote by the pallet that you got to stop. And Raheem Kassam's absolutely correct. That's a contact sport. The three contact sports. Number one, the legal part's a contact sport. The lawyers for Trump have got to get in these courtrooms and start filing lawsuits just like the left is, of the 200 lawsuits that are filed. In addition, the street element's going to be contact because Antifa and certain elements of Black Lives Matter are out of control. And obviously, social media is going to be contact because they're going to have the kill switch that they're going to sit there and say, no, President Trump can't declare himself president. So, Midge, where do you think I know you're back on the East Coast for a while, back here in Washington, D.C. You've been over at the Trump Hotel. You got probably the best feel of the Trump movement overall. Where do you think the Trump movement is in this process that's out there to steal his victory on November 3rd, to actually have Joe Biden win the presidency on some counting these mail-in votes until they get the lead?
Well, it's funny because I have been traveling all over the country during, over the last few months. I've been following the Trump campaign. I've been speaking to Trump supporters. I've been attending the Reopen California protests for months. And, I see so much passion and enthusiasm for President Trump out there across the country. And I've seen very little for Joe Biden. I'm not exaggerating when I say that I have not seen one yard sign for Joe Biden in the Bay Area. But funny enough, I've been staying down in Houston, Texas recently, and, I actually have seen a number of Joe Biden signs. But it has been difficult to find these Biden supporters, to see where the support actually is. And it seems very clear to me that the Democrats know that they don't have the enthusiasm for Joe Biden. They can't win in a fair fight. So they've rigged this whole thing. And, I remember back in May, Kayleigh McEnany was bringing up, our press secretary was bringing up the fact that We have areas in California where we have over 100% of the population registered to vote. I remember her tweeting that 112% of the population of Los Angeles is registered to vote, which doesn't even make any sense. And as
apparently I'm one of them.
Yeah, I'm probably one of them too. I'm probably like 6 of them. I remember in LA, I probably moved, 6 times in 8 years that I lived there. And how many times did I don't think I ever unregistered at an address. I just re-registered wherever I moved. So, I think that there are so many people like this, and they don't purge the voter rolls. So, if all of these people are receiving ballots, what do they expect is going to happen? There's obviously going to be, some issues and some opportunity for fraud there.
Steve, one opportunity for our listeners
go ahead.
here when you talk about ballot harvesting, and we've been separated from our elderly in these old age homes now because of this pandemic, and we're finally able to get back with our loved ones. They use these old age homes around the country to abuse these older people to make them vote the way they want. You need to get in there and take responsibility for your elderly parents and relatives and make sure that they are not victimized by this ballot harvesting process. Their rights need to be protected. And while we're talking about lawfare and everything else, I think that somebody ought to fire a round across the bow of these old age home operators who allow this scam to occur inside their buildings, because at some point they become complicit in my mind.
What is the hashtag? Tell me what the live stream. We got about less than a minute, Raheem. Maybe we'll do it in the next segment with Fog City. But we want to hear what the live stream's telling us and what hashtag War and Pandemic. Remember, this is your moment to shine in American history and to keep the republic that Franklin warned us about. Raheem, take us out, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Excuse me. Oh, God, I've got it. So the latest is that Chief of Staff Mark Meadows is just concluding, I think, a press briefing. We'll bring you the latest from that as he speaks to reporters on the White House North Lawn. Jack Maxey, Fox City Image, Stephen K. Bannon, Raheem Kassam here in the War Room, Capitol Hill, New York, New York. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan, but not for Granite Stone. It just doesn't stick. Granite Stone will be the last pan you'll ever need because it's pressed from a solid aluminum disc for even heat conduction, then coated 3 times with our durable Granite Stone finish. Granite Stone is metal utensil safe and won't scratch. And talk about non-stick. This salmon cooked skin side down with no added butter or oil just doesn't stick. This steak is perfectly seared just like the pros. And because Granite Stone is oven rated to 500 degrees, we bake this upside down pan pizza to perfection, and it just doesn't stick. Fire Flambe Delicious Cherries Jubilee. Plus it's PFOA free and 100% dishwasher safe. Call or go online to get your Granite Stone pan for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. Granite Stone is so durable it comes with a 10-year warranty. And with every order, you're going to get a Granite Stone single-serve egg pan absolutely free. It's the perfect size for personalized eggs, omelets, or frittatas that slide right out. It makes the best bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich quick. Yours absolutely free. We'll even ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. You get it all, an incredible value. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-850-0237. That's 1-800-850-0237, or order online at buygranitestone.com. That's 1-800-850-0237. Call now.
Windshields are impossible to clean, and a dirty windshield can be downright dangerous. Introducing the Hurricane Windshield Wizard, the one tool that reaches and cleans for you. It uses the power of microfiber with a pivoting head to make cleaning windshields quick and easy. The specially designed ergonomic handle fills with tap water and dispenses at the touch of a button, so you can clean in seconds without straining. And it folds away for space-saving storage. Order now and get the Hurricane Windshield Wizard with free extra bonnet for just $19.99. But order now and you can double the offer. Plus, you can also get the Battle Visor, the visor that blocks the harsh glaring sun and keeps you safe on the road. Just pay a separate fee, and we'll ship everything to you for free. That means you can get all this and free shipping. Order now.
Call 1-800-474-7530 or visit GetWindshieldWizard.com. So call 1-800-474-7530 now.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
As our hashtag War and Pandemic posse says, I think his name is Shell, said that Donald Trump's going to accomplish more in quarantine than Joe Biden's done in 47 years. That's the spirit we want to hear. That's resolve, that's grit, that's determination. You're back in the war room. Raheem, Mark Meadows, Chief of Staff, one of the Tea Party leaders from North Carolina, just talked up on at the mics, just went to the sticks. What do you have to say?
Yeah, and of course he's very far away from reporters, but of course the first thing that people are talking about, he wasn't wearing a mask. Mark Meadows comes out, Chief of Staff. He says the doctors continue to monitor his health and the health of the First Lady, and will continue to do that. The president has mild symptoms, but he also says he won't get into the president's treatment plan right now. He says the president's first question of the day was, how's the economy doing, and how are the stimulus talks on Capitol Hill going? So just like you said, Steve, all just action, back to action, another day at the office for the president. And then finally, I just wanted to make mention of the fact that, I'm just going to check this here. I think that's it. That's all the headlines from Mark Meadows so far. I don't know if he's still speaking or if he's concluded speaking yet, but I'll continue to monitor it.
So, Jack, what should be real quickly before we go to Fog City, what should be the treatment that the Jack Maxey in the Jack Maxey posse would recommend?
Well, the Zelenko treatment would be, 400 milligrams for 1 or 2 days, and then 200 milligrams each day for 5 days with 25 milligrams of zinc and a course of azithromycin. I mean, this is being done around the world. And perhaps also, I mean, if it were me, I like the shotgun approach to medicine. I would have put him on the ivermectin, too. Why not? First, do no harm. And let's be clear, people, I only play a doctor on television. I am not a doctor.
You play doctor. You play doctor on a podcast.
Yeah. Fog City, I want to go to you quickly and talk about what you're going to be here for the second hour with us, too, but what an influencer is. But you've got some observations on social media. I know you live on social media. Tell us about the venom and hate directed to our president.
Yeah, it started immediately, as you can expect from the left. But it's surprising because it's not just coming from these, far left BLM activists on Twitter. It's coming from blue checkmark. It's coming from, major Democrats and as well as journalists. It's funny because I just found this article. Former Obama staffer and Hillary Clinton spokeswoman tweets out a death wish for President Trump. She tweets out, "It's been against my moral identity to tweet this for the past 4 years, but I hope he dies." And this is the kind of thing we're seeing from the left. It's despicable. Let me pull up a couple of the other ones here from people that we can expect to just spew their hate, like George Conway. He failed to protect the country. He couldn't even protect himself. It's quite sickening when it all comes down to it. Let me see, who else do we have here? Oh yeah, people just mocking the fact that that damn hoax. I mean, it's been nasty. The stuff I saw immediately was the nastiest.
But Steve, there's one really.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jerry.
One really good one from our favorite girl, and I think she defines that kind of person on the other side of the aisle who we're trying to attract to our movement, and I think she's 90% there. But Tulsi Gabbard showed her real class. She wrote, "My husband Abraham and I offer our best wishes and aloha to President at Real Donald Trump and the First Lady, praying for their speedy recovery. We also send our best wishes to Ivanka, Tiffany, Donald Trump Jr., Eric, and Barron during this difficult time." Now, that's what a class act is, and look what the Democratic Party did to Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard was victimized by the same strategy that they're going to try and do against our president on November 3rd.
No, Tulsi Gabbard.
And what a polar opposite.
Yeah.
Polar opposite from what the Washington Post was putting out.
So, Fox City, tell people, we've got you on here today as an influencer. Tell people quickly, what's an influencer? What do you do? Why are you so important as a major cog in the Trump movement?
And who are you?
And who am I? I know. I love that you guys call me Fog City Midge. Like, that's my name now. My social media handle has become my name. But
you hear what he calls me.
But yeah, I'm Maggie Vandenberg. I actually started my career as a filmmaker, which is yet another reason why I love Uncle Steve so much. But yeah,
that's his name now.
Yes, of course. That's what I call you. So yeah, I started my career as a filmmaker and was, in the closet politically, so to speak, in Los Angeles for many years. And, it wasn't until I just saw what was on the line, and I had this reckoning and realization that if people like me continue to stay silent, we will lose the country. But right now we have an opportunity with this president to get our country back on track and to actually fight back and maybe have a chance to win and to, become the America First agenda and beat these globalists. So I totally pivoted my career and started creating conservative content. And now I've basically become a social media influencer. I post my content. Social media is my new, way that I distribute my now very short format films. And yeah, people are drawn to it. It's grown. I've got over 300,000 followers, and people now turn to me for opinion, for thoughts, for updates on the news and everything in conservative media and kind of, conservative thought. So it's quite remarkable that I went from a relatively unknown filmmaker and actress in Hollywood to now, I thought my career would be over by coming out as a conservative, and now it's just been exactly the opposite.
For the people out there who are interested in doing similar, how does one become an influencer? Like, do you have to have some special access to something?
Yeah, I don't think, as long as you have a smartphone, I think you can do basically anything. And also, if you have a little bit of creativity, I think it helps if you can kind of, see a good meme or maybe tweak something or put out your own content. But some people have become influencers just reposting other things that they see, that sort of putting together curated content on their feeds. So I think if you have a strong opinion and if you're committed to posting regularly, that's really the main key ingredient to becoming an influencer. And I always tell people, if they're interested in getting involved in using social media to speak up and get a message out, just figure out what platform works for them. Obviously, Instagram's more visual. Twitter's better if you're a great writer. So, just figure out what works for you and start speaking up.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Some tips for you. If you want to do your part, that's one of the parts people need to play out there. Fog City Midge, Jack, Maggie, Stephen K. Bannon, Uncle Steve, Raheem Kassam return in just a moment.
The hottest new razor is taking the men's grooming world by storm. And if you don't have it, you need it. Micro Touch Solo, the hyper-advanced full-body razor that trims, shapes, edges, and even shaves with micro precision. And it's totally safe to the touch. Go solo for full body control with one tool. No nicks, bumps, or ingrown hairs. Edge beards and goatees with one touch. Clean your neck, barber shop perfect. And check this out. Snap on the guide to tame growth and perfectly shape your full beard. And keep new growth stubble trimmed exactly to your style. And look, the Solo Full Body Groomer trims precisely the length of hair you want. Snap off the guide and remove unwanted hair anywhere in seconds. What makes Solo different than your ordinary razor? Dual-sided German stainless steel blade. Shave up or down at 200 microstrokes per second. The Ultra Flex pivoting head contours perfectly to you for precise results. 3 custom grooming guides for control of exact length and shape. And a built-in LED light so you never miss a spot. Solo is so precise, you need no creams, no soaps, and no water. Ditch the old man clippers and toss the scissors. you've got to go solo. Call 1-800-709-9777 or go online at microtouchsolo.com and get yours now for only $19.99. Complete with German stainless steel blade, pivoting head, built-in spotlight, and 3 custom grooming guides. Everything you see here for just $19.99. The all-new MicroTouch Solo Full Body Groomer. The one tool that does it all.